Hi there, and welcome to Still Learning Podcast. My name is Fortune Fowle, and I am your host. If you're new here, welcome to a space that's all about progression, not perfection, which means that we are becoming people. So we have not arrived at who we are meant to be, but we are just getting to our destination. And so I welcome you and happy Still Learning Monday. Honestly, guys, I'm really excited to have this conversation for today. But before we even get started, I just have to admit something real quick. I will not lie and I will admit that I switched out my hat about 3 times before starting this recording. Like, I was trying to figure out what vibe I was going for today, and honestly, guys, I'm not really that big of a hat person. Like, I think I wanna be one, but I'm not. Like, I love trucker hats. Honestly, when I got this hat, it was more of an gag type of situation. It was when I went on my service trip, and there's a whole meme behind this. If you're chronically online, you know the meme behind having hats like this. All I need is a picture of me holding a giant fish in my hand. But we all got this together as like a little bonding thing and also as like a memorabilia of our trip with one another. And so this is like my first ever like trucker hat, but the other hats that I have are like bucket hats. I know those aren't really a thing, but honestly, I love me a bucket hat. Like I have fur ones, a cheetah one, and also I have baseball hats, which I honestly prefer the fit of a baseball hat more than a trucker hat. Like, which one do you guys like more? Do you like a trucker hat fit or a baseball hat fit? Also, what do you guys think? Like, am I kind of eating with this hat on right now? I know this is like a little side tangent and honestly has nothing to do with our conversation for today. But honestly, like that's kind of been how my morning's going so far. Trying to figure out what hat to wear today. So, how's your morning been? Come on, let me know in the comments. Like, what is your morning like? Okay, honestly, let's get serious though. Okay, not that serious because we're just talking. Okay, fortune got it together. I'm a little I'm a little silly goofy mood this morning apparently, guys. After that morning walk I did, I guess I'm like high on endorphins or whatever. Like I should actually know. As if I don't have my degree in this. Anyway, for today, after that very like nonsensical introduction, for today, guys, we are going to be talking about something that's honestly been on my mind since I graduated. Actually, before I even graduated college, which is friendships. And the reason why I think this has just been on the forefront of my mind because as graduation approached and got closer and closer, I really realized that how I've been navigating friendships currently just isn't going to be the same in the next season of my life. Like when you're in that moment, graduation's happening and you're realizing that everyone's going to go on different paths and move to different states and have different jobs and start their career or just honestly, it's kind of like a time when you realize that your phase in life with your friends isn't going to be like the same. You know, you all went through elementary school, so, like, you're in the same phase of, like, elementary school, you're in the same phase of, like, high school just becoming awkward and weird, and then you're in the same phase of, like, college, like, there's this kind of, like, conjoining experience that we're all like, canon event that we're all experiencing at the same time, like, you and your friends when you're going through your school years, but then after that it really just takes new shapes and forms because some people just get married, some people start having kids, other people are like traveling the world, other people are becoming the next CEO of the next big tech company. Like literally everyone kind of diverts and goes off into these different paths. And it's like, what? What's happening? What do I do with this? How do I navigate this? I thought about the last 40 years for myself, and I have gone through a lot of friendship highs and lows. A lot of friendship building and a lot of friendship just crumbles and good, bad, ugly, amazing, and all the in between. And I've gone through a lot actually these last 4 years with friendships. And I think maybe that's another reason why it's on the forefront of my mind because I am in a really good space and a really healthy space with a lot of the friendships and people in my life. And I honestly contribute that to the fact that I have just become better throughout the 4 years as a person, as an individual. I've grown so much in self love and self respect and valuing myself and my self worth. And so I definitely think that has changed how I value the friendship that I give to others and also change how I receive friendships within my life. And now that I'm in this really great space and I have all these amazing, incredible friendships within my lives, and I am someone who deeply cherishes relationships with people. I am someone where it kind of takes time to get really close to me. Like I'm a good person with like surface level, like good conversationalist, but it does take me time to like really like open up and get personal and nitty gritty and like pour out and trauma dump on a person. Like it definitely takes me some time and building that level of trust and a lot of one-on-one intimate time with the person. I'm really big on that, like one-on-one individual time with people. And so it takes some time to get that level of closeness with me, but once you are, like, it's like your family to me. Like, I'm never going to let go of you. Okay, that got a little creepy. That got a little weird, but it's just true. Like, I am so deeply embedded and involved and invested in the people in my life. Like, I try to pour out so much in myself and like pour out so much into them and be there for them and support them and encourage them in any way that I can. I think that's something that I've also learned over the years. As someone who used to be a people pleaser, I used to overextend myself and give so much of what I just couldn't give to people because that's what they want and I just wanted to please them. But over the years, as a now reformed people pleaser, okay, we are reformed, we are in remission, and we hope to never come back out of remission. But I have genuinely come to understand and appreciate the kind of friend that I am. Every day I'm trying to become a better friend, right? I really do try to show up as the friend that Christ was to other people, but I've come to have this better awareness and attuneness to the kind of friend that I am and the kind of friendship that I bring to the table, which is very valuable. Like I would like to say that I'm a very genuine, heartfelt, very great friend to the people in my life. I hope that they agree. But genuinely, I realized that I give so much and I value so much in my friendships and the kind of friend that I am to people. And I also deserve to receive that in return. I deserve to have people who are going to show up for me in my life as a friend that I need and support and love and encourage me and see me for who I am and don't expect me to be anything more and don't expect me to give anything more that isn't who I am or what I can't give. And so I have been in that space and I'm still kinda in this space and working through it because I really do think friendship, like everything else in life, as we are quickly coming to learn and understand, is an ongoing process. It changes and evolves as we evolve and change as people. And so when I'm entering this next phase of adulthood for myself, my friendships are evolving and they're changing. I mean, I haven't had any major thing happen yet. I'm just about to move this upcoming week and I haven't yet started my job, but I know that's gonna further influence kind of like my friendships and how that works. And I'm gonna be meeting new people. But even for the friendships that I have right now, they've already taken a new shape and a new form. I've come to realize that my friendships right now for the people that I have in my life, I really understood post graduation requires me to be even more intentional than I was before. When you're in school, when you're in college, it is so easy to like not be so intentional with your friends and not set aside time to see them and make plans because you have like this commonality, this common interest. Like a lot of my friends who I met through nursing, like I didn't necessarily have to think so hard about the next time I'm gonna see them or make plans with them because like, oh, we have class on Monday, I'm gonna see them on Wednesday again for classes, or like we're gonna study together, we're gonna do this together, like, or we're gonna travel to our clinical together in this way. Like literally it does not require that much intentionality in terms of like seeing them or spending time with them or texting them because I'm seeing them on this consistent basis because we're going to the same place or we have this level of convenience there. Like there's a level of convenience that college and school provides you in terms of seeing and being with your friends that when you're outside of that space that you no longer have. Or even with my friends who I made through clubs, like, literally because, like, for example, I was on the e-board at my fashion club in college, and literally, I have so many wonderful friends from that club who literally have made such a life-lasting impact on me, but it was so easy. I didn't have to necessarily be so intentional because, like, I would see them at e-board meetings, I would see them for our group bondings, I would see them for our weekly meetings, just for our general members, like, I was consistently seeing these people at least, like, 3 to 5 times a week, like 3 to 5 times, so it didn't require so much intentionality and planning, like, I was consistently seeing my friend just because, like, the events and things that are going on in life, there was that level of convenience. Now, there isn't that anymore, there isn't that meeting point that we're always gonna meet at, that I know that I'm always gonna see them at, and that is pushing me and actually challenging me as a friend, challenging how I show up for the people in my life because now I need to be a bit more intentional than I was before. So this past summer, I've already been doing that with a lot of my friends, just upping the level of intentionality I'm having in my relationships with people. So, for context, I'm not really a big caller. Like, I'm not a huge person on calling people, FaceTiming. I'm more of a texter. And unfortunately for me, a majority of the people in my life are callers, including my family. Like, they will call me over something that I'm like, you literally could have just texted me that. Like, call me for any little thing. And I am not a caller to that extent, and I think it's because, like, me as a caller is, like, if we're about to get on the phone together, like, it's gonna be an hour plus conversation. Like, there's no way we're gonna be on the phone and it's just for 2 minutes. Like, it's going to be an hour plus. So, for me, I'm not a huge caller just because I'm so conscious of that. I'm more of a texter because it gives me more flexibility, more of ability to, like, actually think about what I wanna say too and articulate it well, and also just more time to get back to them. And not that I'm even a slow texter, I'm a pretty good texter, I'm pretty good at getting back to people. Everyone else in my life, because they're such big callers, are slow texters. So for me, I've had to learn to compromise. I had to learn to compromise, and for example, one of my best friends, we have it where we call, like, once or twice a week, like, schedule that in, and she's very much aware that I'm not a huge phone person, so she never, like, tries to call me more times than, like, once or twice a week because she is a huge phone person, but she wants to, like, kinda respect that kinda, like, boundary, I guess you could say, about me, versus I know that she really isn't that big of a texting person, like, she will get back to you a little bit later or when she like, it's not, like, the same, so I'm conscious of that as well, and we just kinda find that rhythm for each other because we very much love each other, we wanna keep up to date with what's going on in each other's lives. Another thing that I do with a lot of my friends is I schedule phone calls with them now, like, "What time works for you? When can we talk?" Because I really do want them to know that I'm still here for them. No amount of distance, no amount of change in our life can necessarily stop me from showing up for them in the way that it can. So maybe in this season, maybe I'm not showing up so much in terms of my physical presence, but I'm showing up through a text message, through a check-in, "Hey, how are you?" Even now, like, when a friend of mine comes to my mind, like, I text them, I'd be like, "Hey, like, they're on my heart, they're on my mind. Let me reach out to them. Let me see what's going on with them." And it doesn't need to be this long, elaborate, like, conversation we're having, but just to let them know that, "Hey, I'm still here. I still care about you. I still wanna know what's going on in your life," and just let them know that you're thinking of them. I think that's just the sweetest thing, and anytime someone just lets me know, "Hey, I'm thinking about you," like, that warms my heart, and it kinda lets there be a reminder that there's someone in your corner who's rooting for you and genuinely wants the best to happen for you in your life. And so that's some of the things that I've been being more intentional with. Voice memos have also been such an essential part of me keeping up with my friends and really showing up more intentionally in my friendships this time in this season of my life. I remember I saw it on, like, an Instagram, and you guys probably saw this too. Like, I'm sure it was, like, viral and it was going around, but it was like an Instagram reel, and this guy was, like, talking about how his friends, like, his group of friends from college, as adults, like, we're just talking about, guys, like, life happens, like, people start having kids, getting married, like, life just happens, and so it can be really hard to keep up with your friends. But he was saying how one of the things that he does is that his friends, they have this group chat, and every single Wednesday, they all just, like, send a voice note updating them on what's going on in their life. And I thought that was so cool. And I actually saved that reel. And that's something that I started implementing in my day-to-day life with my friends. Like I'd be like, please send me a voice note, a voicemail, because like I know like they can be working or they have other things going on. So they may not be able to get back to me and have this call with me or be able to like text back and forth with me about what's currently going on. Because also sometimes testing can be a lot. It can be exhausting, especially when you have a lot that you want to discuss. And sending paragraph after paragraph isn't necessarily everyone's vibe. I am that person though. Like I will send you paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. This can be like new in our friendship and like ages into our friendship. I am that person who sends paragraph after paragraph, but I know that isn't everyone. And so I find that voice memos have become this happy medium that I'm so grateful that they created this tool. I don't even, is tool even what you call it? Like, but I'm just grateful for voice notes because it allows that happy medium of like, it's not completely a phone call, so you're not dedicated to this for the next hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, but it's also not like a text message. It's a happy medium. And so those are just little things that I've been implementing to help me be more intentional with my friendships during this time because how else? Like, how else am I going to do that? And honestly, it's been good. I feel like one of my fears leaving college was like, oh my gosh, like I'm kind of worried that, and I think this is a common fear for a lot of us, that what if my friendship with this person was just one based on convenience or based on proximity? Yeah. Like, I know that is not just my only concern. I think a lot of us think about that. Like, oh, what if we were only as close as we were because we were in the same club or because we were doing the same major or because we were living in the same building or because we were roommates? Like, what if that was the only reason that we were actually interacting and being in a relationship with one another instead of it being like this, oh no, I genuinely just appreciate and value as a person within my life. And whether we're in the same room or whether we're like miles apart, like we're still going to be able to be tethered to one another in that way. I think that was like a fear of mine because I love the people in my life. Like I told you guys in the beginning, like I'm someone who deeply treasures and cherishes her friendships. And so friendship breakups, hardships are actually really hard on me. Like they definitely do take a toll. And like those are hard. Those are hard. Like I never been through like a romantic breakup, but I've been through friendship breakups and those are brutal. And so I hate dealing with that. I know that's natural. That's life. Like that just happens. But like the best that I can to avoid that. I really do try to do that. But honestly, I really try to not get in that mindset as much and just be like, fortune. In life, things change. As you evolve as a person, so are they also evolving as a person, and friendships are meant to evolve. I think that is something that I'm really constantly learning and like processing in day by day is the fact that sometimes it goes from a person being acquaintance to your best friend and then from your best friend to an acquaintance. Just like seasons come and go, we have spring, summer, fall, winter. There are seasons in friendship, seasons where you're really close, seasons where you might be further apart, but that doesn't mean that friendship or that person can be any less valuable to you or that that friendship isn't something that matters. It can still matter. It just looks different in this season or in this time. I think that's just something I'm constantly having to navigate and remind myself of. And also, I think with the whole idea of proximity and if this friendship was only a friendship because we were like close to each other in terms of like physical distance, I don't know, is that necessarily like a bad thing? I think I used to take like offense that be like, oh wow, like you're only friends with me because like we were proximity wise, we lived in the same building. But I think I've come to really have more grace for it in the sense of like, well, that's kind of natural. Like, if you're constantly seeing someone every single day, if you're constantly within each other's orbit, it makes sense that you would become closer and spend a lot of time with one another because there is this level of convenience there. And outside of that, like if you are further apart from each other and that convenience is there, it also doesn't make sense where naturally it can just like that friendship to kind of fizzle out and you can grow apart from one another. You know, everyone is growing individually. And so sometimes not everyone is going to grow alongside you. Sometimes people are going to grow like apart from you. And that's normal and that's natural. And I think every friendship kind of needs a level of proximity, because for you to get close with someone, you need to be seeing them on a really consistent basis or talking with them consistently. Like there needs to be some level of consistency and convenience within your friendship for you guys to get really close, in my opinion. But over time, as life happens, that again, like I said, changes and takes a new form and shape. And so that distance, sometimes it does require more effort to keep up with that friendship. And other times it really doesn't. Like I have friends who I can go months without talking to, like months without ever seeing them. And the moment I see them, is as if nothing has changed. And shout out to all my friends who are like that. I love you guys so much, because that is the level of kind of low maintenance friendship that I honestly appreciate so much, where it just feels like no time has passed at all. It feel like I just saw you yesterday. And that is such a beautiful thing, but that's also not every friendship. Okay, it's very individual to that person. And it's also very individual to the kind of foundation you set in that friendship. Like, I had this analogy when I was thinking about this and just like this conversation. Honestly, just thinking about friendships in general. I had this analogy, guys. Hear me out, okay? So, friendships are like plants. No, okay. Okay. Hear me out. The analogy makes sense. Friendships are like plants. Okay. Not every plant has the same watering and sunlight needs. All right. Some plants need more water than others. Some plants need more sun than others. Some plants, if you give it too much sun, it will die. Some plants, if you give it too much water, it will drown and then die. And that and that is like friendships. Like some friendships, some of your friends in your life are like cacti. Cacti don't need a lot of, attention. They don't need a lot of like watering and sunlight needs. Succulents, like those are pretty low maintenance plants. They don't need a lot of gardening, but they're still beautiful and they still flourish and they still thrive and grow. But that's because you are specifically aware of their individual needs versus roses. Oh my gosh, if you want your rose to be blooming and stunning, like you got to put a lot of attention, a lot of work, a lot of, gardening stuff. Guys, I'm not really a gardener, and honestly, like I wish I had a green thumb, but I really don't have a green thumb. In middle school, we had to like, we had like a project where you had to basically plant your own plant. I did not say that right, but you had to like basically take care of your own plant. Guys, I don't even think my plant grew from the pot. I didn't even get a chance with me. I don't have a green thumb, and I really wish I did. I really wish I did. But back to the main point. Other than the fact that you probably can't trust your plants around me, not yet at least. All friendships have individual needs. You cannot apply the same formula to every single friendship because every single person is different. The way that I need a friend to show up for me is going to be different from how they need me to show up for them. And also, all friends and individuals have their strengths and their weaknesses. Like, I'm probably not the friend to go to, like I just said, to take care of your plants. That is a weakness of mine. Like, if you need a friend who's gonna take care of your plants and watch over them as you went on vacation, you're probably not calling me. But if you need a friend who's kind of like, you need just encouragement, you need some support, you need some advice, like you need prayer. I am that friend. I'm that girl you're gonna call up. And that's just how I'm able to show up for my friends in my life. And it's the same way that I have friends who meet my needs and in different ways. And because I'm also aware and understanding of their strengths and weaknesses. And also I'm aware myself of where they need nurturing and where they may not need so much nurturing, where this needs more attention in our friendship, where others don't. Like I'm not someone who I know myself in terms of how I need my friends to show up for me. Like I'm not someone who really needs you to call me every single day, text me every single day. But when it's important things that matter in my life and you show up, or just a friend who uplifts me, encourages me, makes me feel seen, and the way of like they remember important events going on in my life and like, hey, you got this. Like things like that, one-offs like that, or literally, like I said earlier, a friend just telling me, hey, I was thinking about you. That fills my cup. That makes me feel like, ah, wow, I feel so loved by my friends and the people in my life. And it looks different for everyone. And so you can't apply the same formula of friendship to everyone. There really isn't a formula in a friendship. And I think we try to come up with the formula. And I think honestly, that's kind of where we set ourselves up for failure because we're trying to apply the same expectations and standards to each person and individual without really understanding who that person is and what actually they can bring to the table. Like without actually properly assessing, like, hey, what kind of friend are they? And are they a friend that I need in my life or a friend that I can truly appreciate and value in my life right now? Or even thinking about, hey, like, can I be the kind of friend that they need? Like having a level of awareness of ourselves and the kind of friend that we are. Like, can I show up for them in the way that they need? Can I uplift them in the way that they need? Could I be a good friend for them too, just as much as they can be a good friend for me too? And I think it definitely requires a lot of self awareness and self reflection. Honestly, like having hard conversations with yourself and also being open and honest about what you need. It's okay not to settle in friendships. I think we really say a lot of these things and apply a lot of this advice to relationships, like romantic ones, like, oh, don't settle, or you should not lower your standards, all these different things. But like the same applies for friendships too. Like it's still all relationships and being in relation with people, and it looks different for everyone. And so I think it's really important as I'm even going to start making new friends to keep inventory of that, to be aware of that and constantly not close myself in that way, be open to as friendships evolve and change, as I evolve and change as a person, because I'm definitely not at my final point. Like this like form of fortune, this is probably like version 30. I got like 100 more versions of myself to grow and become into, but so do your friendships. So do the other people in your life. And just like embrace it. Like, don't run away from it. I know it can be scary. I know it can be daunting. I know sometimes it can result in you not being friends with someone anymore. And that sucks. I know that sucks. Like, losing a friend, especially someone who you just cherish or known for a very long time, can be very difficult, but also maybe it's just for a season too. Sometimes not all friendships are a permanent breakup. Maybe just like in this season, you are going on different trajectories and maybe your roles were intertwined with one another again. But also, if it doesn't, that's okay too. And honestly, I think that's part of the journey. That's part of the beautiful journey of friendships is that, they change, they evolve. Sometimes it leads to these ends. But I think the most important thing is just to appreciate them for what they were in that season time they were in your life instead of trying to force them to become something that it no longer is anymore. Instead of holding on to dead things. Sometimes dead things can be brought back to life. So it's not everything's out the playing cards, but really just appreciating for what it is right now and how it has helped and shaped you as a person and as a friend and how you receive friendships in the future. And to be honest, this isn't something that I grew into overnight. This really actually came into me just seeking the Lord more in terms of how to be a friend to people, how to receive friendships. Because again, when you're a people pleaser, you don't really take a lot of inventory in terms of the kind of friendships you need or how you need people to show up for you. You're constantly kind of nitpicking at yourself, like how you can show up for other people, what can you do for other people, how you can please them. And I think just as I've just been working that out and building friendships and having friendships that I'm not just thinking about how I can meet all their needs, or I'm not just thinking about how I can show up as the best friend I can be for them. They're also being great friends to me in return. I really think it came from me just looking at Jesus's life and what I like to call the inner courts. Like Jesus had an inner court. So how I basically kind of explain this to other people is one, like Jesus had the crowd. So the people who were in the crowd who were just coming here for like a healing touch from him and then bounce, they gone, right? Then he had the 72 because there was not just 12 disciples, there were like 72 disciples as well. So the 72 disciples, and then there was 12 disciples, and then there was the three who were really close to Jesus who saw the transfiguration on the mountain, right? Like the three who were locked in, they were all locked in, but like locked in, locked in, locked in, right? And so that's kind of how I think about it. It's the inner course. And what that really showed me is that everyone has a different level of access to you. And The level of closeness you have with the person or lack of closeness does not mean the absence of love, does not mean the absence of care for this person. And it doesn't mean the absence of relationship with this person. We all have some sort of relationship with people within our lives, whether it's positive or negative, but there's some sort of level of relationship there, and everyone has a different level of access to us there. And navigating that and even having boundaries that determine that isn't a bad thing. Because I also think about how the three used to be the 12, and the 12 used to be a part of the 72, and the 72 used to be the crowd. Like before there was ever a 12, before there was ever 72, there was a crowd. Before there was ever people who got to be in these relationships with Jesus. And then it wasn't until like 3.5 years of walking out his ministry with him where these disciples growing near to him and knowing him as like a Lord, as a Savior, as a friend, as a brother. And that came with time. And so for me, I think like that's really just helped me, like in terms of friendship, is just understanding like, hey, that can that's life. Like friendships change and evolve. Like someone can just be in the crowd or just in your environment, and before you know it, all of a sudden they're like your friend, and then from your friend your best friend, and then all of a sudden they're like family. And then sometimes it can be like family to like acquaintances. I mean, we all know about Judas who betrayed Jesus. He was like Jesus's brother. He was part of the 12. He wasn't the 72. He was in the crowd. He was a part of the 12. He was close, real close. And towards the end, their friendship took a little bit of a pivot, if we can call it that, a pivot. It took a little bit of a change in a new direction, but it didn't erase Jesus's love for Judas. It didn't erase how he cared for him. And we know that because as Judas is literally betraying him, he's like, calls him friend. Like, what? Still baffles me to this day that Jesus did that. But literally, it just shows that, like, I think that paints kind of like the perfect picture of like friendships evolve and change and grow, but it doesn't necessarily change the level of love or compassion you can have for this person, or it doesn't necessarily change how they may receive or view you as well. It's just as you grow, as they grow, as life happens, things change. And be open to that change instead of taking offense to that change. Yeah. Yeah. Be open to that change instead of taking offense to it, instead of thinking the worst. Maybe think, how can this be the best, not just for me, but also for them? And where one friendship may have an end, it can be the start to another friendship, another beautiful opening to another friendship. And I don't know, appreciate it all. I think that's something I learned. I actually was watching your favorite aunties podcast. If you know them, get to know them. No, I actually love them so much. And they were talking about that, about appreciating people in your life while they're in your life. And I know that can be really easy not to do when you have really close friends or people who've been your friend for a long time, or even family members should just not appreciate them because you feel like they're always going to be there. But generally that's actually not really the case. Like one day they can be here and the next day cannot be here. Okay, that got a little morbid, but it's also true. So appreciate every single person right now, right where they are for you in your life, because you never know what can happen next. You never know where it can go or change. And so appreciate it. And I think one of the ways that I like to do this in my life is I actually have a little keepsake box. And it's a box full of birthday cards, letters, pictures, notes, everything you can kind of think of since middle school up until now, from friendships and people who have been in my life. Well, a lot of them are even people who I like am no longer like friends with, or no, who are no longer in my life, or people who also I just like had not the best falling outs with. Like some of the people in this box and the memories in this box are like friendships that had like, it was just like we drifted apart, and other ones where it just crashed and burned. But I keep it all. And the reason why I keep it all is just because like I really just want to remember the best parts of the friendship, the best parts of people, because they did play a role and influence who I am now, whether it's positive or negative. And I do think the same way I may have positively or negatively impacted other people, you know, I think there's something to appreciate and value about all of it and to cherish about all of it, because I wouldn't be who I am today without it. I wouldn't have the perspectives. I wouldn't have grown in certain ways that I may have needed to grow as a person individually if certain things didn't happen or if they didn't play the role that they played in my life. And so I really keep that box because I like to look back on the memories with fondness instead of bitterness or rage or heartache and think about, wow, this person played such an important role in my life. This person really, when we were friends, when they were in my life, it was something that was beautiful. It was something that was worth cherishing, that was full of so much laughter and joy. And I'm grateful for that, that which they brought in my life that is good and positive. And so, it's just something that I like to do and something that I like to keep for myself because no matter what, friendships are constantly changing. They're constantly growing and evolving. And honestly, even my mindset now, even when I talked about with you guys today on friendships and what I'm thinking about them now and the things that I'm learning and how I'm navigating them, my approach might completely change in this next phase of my life as I'm literally having to make new friends and learn how to work them. And even what I'm doing now, all the things I told you guys about how I'm being intentional, that might change. And I might have a new perspective and a new outlook on friendships because I'm constantly changing and evolving as a person. So my friendships are going to as well. But honestly, just appreciate it for what it is now. Hold tight for it onto it what it is now. Experience it, live it, laugh, love. Like enjoy your friendships, enjoy the people in your life and be intentional, show up for them the best way that you can and allow people to show up for you and be a good friend to you the way that they can because you deserve that as well. You deserve amazing, incredible friendships and great people in your life. And that's going to look different for each person. It's not going to be the same for every single person, but that's actually a good thing because that means that you get to have friends who meet your needs in all these different unique and cool ways that are attributed to their strengths and the kind of person that they are, the same way that you get to do the same for them. Because we cannot be everyone for another person, and someone else can't be everything for us, but they can be the very best version of themselves for us. And that is just good enough. And so I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's conversations on friendship and trust and believe there is going to be a lot more conversations on friendships because like I said, I honestly don't know what I'm doing completely in friendships. Like I don't. It's still an ongoing process. I'm still learning how to be a better friend. And as I continue to grow into being the best version of myself, the better friend that I become to people in my life. And I genuinely hope that you were able to like resonate with us and there are some little gems that you were able to take away. And honestly, if you have any advice on how you are currently navigating the friendships you have in your life now, or if you have any stories, please comment them. Like, please drop them down in the comment section below. I would love to read them. Also, DM me too if you prefer that as well. If you want to be anonymous, like, feel free to DM at Still Learning Pod on Instagram. But literally, I just want to hear what's going on. Like, tell me your friendship stories. Tell me how you're navigating this. If you have some advice for me, especially as I am going to have to get out my comfort zone and start making some new friends. I hear people say that in this phase of adulthood, the best way to make friends is through hobbies. And so let's try to do that. Let's try to figure that out. I mean, because I love books, I love anime. But like I'm not like a book club girly, but maybe I should join the book club. Maybe like that's one way. One that's all like dark fantasy romance. Something like that. But seriously, like Jenny, guys, I would love to hear your thoughts. Like anything, like literally anything and everything about how you are navigating friendships in your life right now and how I can maybe apply that to my own life. So, with that being said and done, I hope that you guys enjoy this conversation and this episode of Still Learning today. And I will see you next week for another episode of Still Learning. Bye.